Welcome to IntyCenter, everybody, for another exciting whip around Fadus. And we open up with a game that I told you in thread was exhausting just to read about. We'll see how exhausted I get recapping it here on IntyCenter. Now, we thought the story of the opening game between the bandwagoners and Sithi would be the Joe DiMaggio's show. And it looked really good for Sithi early, with Jolton Joe clubbing a 3-run homer in the top of the first on his way to a 2-hit, 4 RBI game. But the drama for this one starts in the 8th inning. Joe Black walks the bases loaded, walks in a run, lets another run score on a wild pitch, and then lets the tying run score on a sac fly. 3-run score without any kind of base hits. Sounds a lot like regular season Guardians baseball. Suddenly, the bandwagoners scored 3 runs in the inning. They got 1 hit. The game's tied at 6th. But Sithi get an RBI from DiMaggio on a sac fly on top of the 9th to retake the lead. But Brian Wilson, he needed some help from Rhonda, but that help didn't come. The bandwagoners tie it at 7 on an RBI single from Nicky Mantle. We go to extra innings. The bandwagoners get a leadoff double and get the bases loaded with 1 out in the 11th. But Troy Percival bounces into a 5-2-3 double play to keep the game going. Top of the 14th, we finally get a run. Frank Thomas singles to score Babe Ruth, but newly acquired Salvador Perez would haunt his old team. He singles and scores Jeff Kent. That ties it up in the bottom of the 14th. Then finally, in the bottom of the 15th, Lou Gehrig draws a 1-out walk. He gets joined on base by A-Rod, who also walked. Stephen Kwan, the hero that Heels doesn't deserve, would ground out. He sends Gehrig to third, and Oral Hershiser steps to the plate and delivers the walk-off single. The bandwagoners to a 15-inning, 9-8 win in an instant classic. And I mean, shit, I feel like I need to take a smoke after recapping a game like that. Alas, there are no smoke breaks on IntyCenter, and we jump right into it with Elmer Flick. He couldn't have scripted a better welcome to his new club. Flick hit a homer. He got 2 hits. He scored twice. Northern Shores top Seorak 4-3. Jesse Tannehill cruises through 8 innings. He takes a shutout into the 9th inning, but Nolan Arenado gets a 2-run single in the 9th to tie the game. Bryce Harper walks it off with a 1-out homer in the 11th. Amazings take it in 3-2 in a heartbreak fashion over Jon Snow and the Kings of the North. The next day, the Game of Thrones starter takes another 2-0 lead in the 9th inning, only this time he finishes the job. Guy Hecker completely bamboozled the Amazings all day. They'd get on base, but they couldn't score. 8 hits, 6 walks against 3 strikeouts. Bob Feller takes a hard luck loss. He gives up 2 runs on 3 hits, and Amazings fall 2-0 to the Kings of the North. Denny Driscoll and Rube Waddell each gave up 3 runs in 7 innings of work, and each take a no decision. This one goes to extra innings and wouldn't end until a Fred Carroll walk-off single in the 11th. That sound you hear in the distance, Wang Chi venomously cursing at the name of Fred Carroll on IntyCenter. Bandwagon Sithi games are not for the faint of heart. Sithi got a 2-run double from the pinch-hitting Frank Thomas, followed by an RBI single from the drunk-as-hell Wade Boggs. That ties the game at 6 in the 9th. Boggs, a few innings later and a few more beers into it, delivers again in the 11th. This time, the Sithi pen actually makes a lead hold up. They win it 7-6. Trying to avoid a sweep, the Demonbags tried to conjure some late inning magic against the Family Madrigal. Down 2-1 in the 9th, down to their last strike. Ken Griffey Jr. doubles and scores Charles Johnson. That ties the game at 2. We head to extras. In the 10th, Jimmy Fox pinch hits a double, scores a pair of runs. Corey Kluber works the 10th for his second scoreless inning of relief. Demonbags avoid the sweep. They win it 4-2. 5 different members of Seorak homer against Gales in November. They seem to be stuck in a tailspin. They dropped the rubber game of their series against Seorak 7-3. Lefty Grove tossed 8 innings. They were shutout innings, 8 shutout innings, and Roy Campanella and Bryce Harper each hit 3-run homers. Amazings down Game of Thrones 11-0. Not a lot of drama in that one. Now, on to the second set of games, and even when they conjure some late inning magic, Northern Shores Gales of November just can't seem to escape the funk of this tailspin. Down to their last strike, Northern Shores got a pinch hit 2-run double from Richard Hidalgo to tie it at 3. But in the 13th, Hanley Ramirez walks it off. He doubles, it scores Matt Kemp, and the Orange Barrels take it 4-3. It was a very Demon Bags game, but they found a way to get the win in their opener against Every City. Dodgers legends put on a short duel. Oral Hershiser gives up 2 runs on 6 hits and 6 2/3. Sandy Koufax gives up 2 runs on 3 hits and 5 1/3. The Demon Bags get the win on a walk as Goose Gossage walks Al Rosen with 1 out and the bases loaded in the 9th inning. Jose Rio took a shutout into the 9th inning and ended up giving up 1 run on 3 hits over 9 innings of baseball, and his team loses. A Babe Ruth solo homer in the 9th ties the game. A George Foster sac fly put Sithi up in the 10th. A Babe Ruth bases loaded walk gave him an insurance run. Andrew Miller works the 10th for the save. Sithi wins it 3-1. Then Bullet Rogan simply decides enough is enough as he tosses 8 1/3 innings of 3-hit baseball. Newcomer Elmer Flick having a hot start. He adds 3 hits. Shane Mack drives in 4 runs. The Gales in November top the Orange Barrels 7-0. Another extra inning classic for Sithi of Ostenard, and 2 more starting pitchers who deserve better than a no decision. Smokey Joe Wood, he went 8 innings, gave up 1 run on 7 hits. Leon Day gave up 1 run on 3 hits in 5 innings. It would be 1-1 all the way until the 14th inning. Game of Thrones would load the bases with 2 outs, and Sean Doolittle would hit Pedro Guerrero for the walk-off hit by pitch. Somehow John Snow knew how to win this one. His team takes it 2-1 in 14 innings. Larry Doby, he continues to be a revelation for Seorak. He had 2 hits and 3 RBI. They top Let's Play 2 in their finale 7-4. Bob Gibson, stellar in the finale this week for Gales in November. He tosses a complete game shutout with 3 hits and 1 walk against 6 strikeouts. Duke Snyder had 3 RBIs. Northern Shores end the week on a high note. They take down the Barrels 7-0. And then our last recap on IntyCenter this week, a shack of their own got DeGrominated. Jacob DeGrom tossed 8 innings. He gave up 2 runs on 5 hits. He struck out 6. George Brett hit a 2-run homer. Chuck Klein added 2 RBI. The Pilots win it 6-2, meaning they stay in first place by a single game over a shack of their own. And that's going to do it this week for IntyCenter. We'll see you next time for another whip around Fidus and hopefully more inspiration from the one and only SpongeBob.